What's up, everyone? Pettit Party, your homeless, friendly neighborhood guy living in his grandma's basement, I guess you call it at this point. Today we're going to be going over a little known thing called price memory that a lot of people really have a hard time trying to understand as a concept. So, basically, the way that price memory works is you look at something, we'll use Cyber-Stein as an example. I love using Cyber-Stein as examples on this channel. Cyber-Stein forever. And, your BGS 9, PSA 10, BGS 10, whatever. Gem mint copies all day long. You're looking at two, maybe $3,000. Up until, Christmas of 2019, you could still buy PSA 10 copies of that card for around $3,000. There was 3 or 4 of them sold in the run of a week on Pfft. Back to back, all of them went around $3,000. People who grew up in the hobby for the last number of years look at Cyber-Stein from last year and say, oh, well, that card was always around $2 or $3,000. That card isn't worth $4,000. It's not worth $5,000. It's not worth $6,000. Who in their right fucking mind's paying $7,000 and change for a Beckett 9.5 Cyber-Stein? You'd have to be a real big dumbass to pay that on a 9.5 Cyber-Stein. And all of a sudden, then a rock copy sells for $10,000. Bunch of 9s start selling for $10,000. All of a sudden, you've got BGS 10 copies selling for, what was it, $18,000? You got PSA 10 copies selling for 30 plus. People want, $15,000 to $20,000 for 9s now. And all of a sudden, the, 9.5 copy that went for just over $7,000 that everyone balked at and said was stupid, that's kind of looking like a good deal right now, and you'd be an idiot not to buy one at that price only a few months later. And that is where people need to come to grips with the fact that in a hobby like collectibles, especially in trading cards in the last few months, last year, price memory really needs to be just taken and thrown the fuck out the window. Whatever you had in your mind as, a fair price or too high of a price for a card, you need to pretend that preconception really doesn't exist unless it's, trying to look at patterns in the market, things like that. So if you're looking at, okay, well, typically the market tends to drop, 20, 25, 35% around Christmas time. So I'm going to wait for the card to drop back down to that. Yeah, that's, a realistic approach to trying and buying and acquiring some of these cards. But if you look at Cyber-Stein and say, oh, well, Cyber-Stein's only worth $3,000. I'm going to wait till it goes back down to 2.5, maybe 2.7. At the absolute highest, I'm going to pay for that. And because of that, you end up in a situation where you're never going to own the fucking cards. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is. I got into a situation where I was stuck in that mindset for a while, and I was, buying, selling, grading, whatever, for the last few years, and I had cards that were coming up for sale, like a PSA 10 Wavy Dark Magician would come up for sale. I wouldn't pay $3,000 for it. All of a sudden, it's $4,000. Okay, well, I'll pay $4,000. You cover the fees. No, the price $4,000. You pay everything. Okay, well, I'll split the fees. Oh, sorry, it's sold. Fuck. Don't see anyone up for sale for a few months. All of a sudden, next copy comes up. Okay, starting bid $6,000. What? 6.5 right now. Okay, sell it to me for $7,000. Done. So all of a sudden, a card that originally I had pegged at under $2,000 and had tried to get around, $2,500 when I finally caught on that it was going up and going to be a pain in the ass to get, then I wouldn't pay $3,000 for it. Didn't want to pay $4,000 for it. Ended up paying $7,000 for it. And if I hadn't have bit the bullet and paid what I thought was a stupid, dumbass price in the moment for a Wavy Dark Magician, I wouldn't own the damn card. And the unfortunate reality of that is a lot of people get caught in this mindset of, and I'm talking about, high value, hard to acquire items for the most part here. We're not talking about, PSA 4 fucking base set Charizards. We're not getting any of that shit today. We're talking about, your premier collection piece items, super desirable stuff, either low print, high rarity, whatever, maybe stuff like that. So, if you get trapped in the mindset of a card should only be worth X amount because of Y, you are, at this point, with the way the market's going now, you are never going to own any of this stuff, period. It's the way it is. I bought my last LOB box at, $17,000, $18,000. I would have paid up to $25,000 for the assurances that I had on the box being, legitimate, coming from a good source, came right out of the case, so really good condition, minty corners, no tears, scratches, all that crap. Now you can't find a box opened for 30 grand. If I had been like some people that I know who kind of balked at that price point, said, that box doesn't work that, I'm not paying that, that's stupid, I wouldn't own any of this shit I own at this point. It's just the fact of life. It's the way that this hobby works at this point. And the way it is now, I don't look at what today's price is on a lot of this stuff. I look at, okay, well, how hard is it to acquire some of this stuff? Where do I think the price is going to be in the next few months, next few years? Where's the long-term potential on some of this stuff? That's what you really need to look at, because I got caught in the opposite about this time last year, and I sold off some of my collection pieces that I thought were stupid prices at the time, saying, who the hell in their right mind is paying this for a PSA 10 LOB hollow? Like, why the hell is anyone paying $1,500 for a wavy Exodia piece? Are you out of your fucking mind? Like, what kind of an idiot are you? Laughing all the way to the bank. I'll just pick up another one of those in a few months for a little bit cheaper, buy something I want now with the money, have some few free chicken tendies, and buy it back cheaper later. And a year later, I still don't have some of those cards back. Trying to buy for 5, 6, 7, 8 times what I sold them for. So, you also need to keep that in mind when you're selling stuff. It's not just when you're buying, that you need to realize, yeah, a price might seem stupid, exorbitantly high in the moment, but you need to think about where that price is going to be in the next few months, next year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10-year period. A lot of people can't really get in that mindset of looking at things long term and not getting caught in the moment, and historical levels on things like that. And it's something that people really need to start being cognizant of and taking note of, because if you're going to advance in this hobby at all, try to reach, your collecting, investing, whatever you want to call it, goals, you've got to be willing to think about the larger picture. And just because something seems, a stupid high price to be paying or stupid high price to be passing up selling for in the moment, is that going to be true in a few months, year, 2, 5, 10 years from now? So, something I want to go over. A lot of people really can't seem to grasp the concept. So, I hope you learned something today, helps you out a bit in your endeavors, we'll call it, and have a good one.